This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
This podcast is a production of HeroesHearth Entertainment. Check out all of our other shows at HeroesHearth.com. Welcome, Hearthlings.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 197 of Lords of the Storm, a Heroes of the Storm podcast. My name is Greg Gizmozord Parker, and I am joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBKZord Reader. And on this week's episode, Happy New Year. It's our first episode of 2019. We came back from a break with the newest hero announced and currently in the PTR. KO updates us on some of the team's plans moving into this year and through this year. And we talk Stitches in this week's Hero of the Week. It's exciting. It's all exciting. But first, let's see how the other guys are doing. I feel like it's been a while, not only since I talked to you all in the web, but the Zord's here. TBK, how you doing? What have you been up to?
I'm doing very well. I actually just got back from big family vacation yesterday at way too early in the morning. That was a lot of fun. It's far more draining when you have kids. So heads up, FYI.
Everything is.
Everything is. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of good memories made. Lots of sweets consumed. Oh my goodness. Yesterday was the start of my reset for food and exercise, and it has gone very well so far because, oh boy, I definitely brought home a few extra pounds.
Yeah, if
me.
I look fatter on stream today than I did last time, it's just because I am. It's fine.
Fair
But
enough.
the nice thing is your voice doesn't sound fatter.
Oh, thanks.
So the audio people won't even know.
Good point. I should work on that. Like, what's the key? Like, what's the breaking point where it starts to affect your voice?
Probably like
We shouldn't go down.
Probably way too much, an unhealthy amount.
Like
Yeah.
when you're 1,000 pounds and you have heart palpitations constantly.
1,000?
I don't know.
Could be.
know.
There's probably a TV show about it.
Could be.
So, Multi, how about you? How did you enjoy your time off? What have you been up to?
Oh yeah, enjoyed it quite a bit. We didn't really travel for ours. We just kind of stayed in town. But we've got both my parents and my wife's parents all local, so we did the Christmas thing on Christmas with hers, and then on the 28th with mine, which worked out pretty well. But yeah, so in the mix of all that, picked up a Switch. My wife surprised me with that one. So yep.
That's so great.
Oh yeah. And she kind of slow played me too, because she was talking about how, we need to budget it out over a couple months and it'll be fine. You can get it in like January, February. Nope. Showed up in an Overwatch blanket on my bed. So that's cool. She didn't even make me wait for Christmas. So that's good. But yeah, I've been on there some. I've been playing Smash Brothers, of course. And then actually a lot of D3 on it. Which I actually kind of find, it's refreshing. I've never played any Diablo game on a console before. So, like, I didn't even know how it would work with the control stick and everything, but ends up just playing kind of like
really
an arcade
good.
game. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
In fact, I think that's my favorite way to play it.
Yeah, me too.
The only issue I have with it, the inventory system's kind of weird, which is it's going to be hard for them to do on like that, but it's kind of annoying. But
it seems like it's about as good as it could be.
Yeah, for sure. And like selecting your skills and stuff took a while. There's a learning curve there, but it's fine. It's fine. So, that's what I've been up to. I mean, I've played some Heroes, played some Hearthstone, but just kind of mixing it up with the Switch lately.
Awesome. Well, for myself, over this break, it's been a busy one for me. I worked and then flew down to Florida to spend Christmas with my family, and then flew back on Christmas to prepare for work. Went back to work. Then I went to St. Louis for work this last weekend, and got back here for a few days, and I've just been exhausted. So I pretty much yesterday and today I had off work and I slept, and I slept some more, and then I go back to work tomorrow, and then next week I'm going back to Chicago. So the travels aren't done for old Gizmo here. I'm going to try my best to be able to still be on the show next week. I'm taking my stuff, my portable stuff at least, to set up and test some stuff out, and then if I can get off work in time, be able to, and back to my hotel, be able to join you all, which I hope I can.
So you're relying on hotel internet for that?
Yeah, but you can spend a little money to get the better internet there.
That's true. That's
true.
So.
Gizmo, did you tell your work that they really need to be more considerate of your gaming and podcasting time?
I know, right? No, it's last time I was out in Chicago, actually, I wore my HeroesHearth jersey, and people were like, "What?
Just around town?
What is that? Gizmozord?" Well, people at work, and I was like, I mean, I'm kind of like a Z-list celebrity when it comes to very niche video games. So
That's a good way of describing it.
I do a couple podcasts.
And
they're like, okay, yeah. So
Yeah. That's the new tagline.
Yeah.
I'm TBKZord. I'm a Heroes of the Storm player. Also a Z-list celebrity.
Exactly.
There's like 5 to 10 people who know who I am. But they're cool.
it's cool because in the workplace, be it like a lot of people don't know much about esports and stuff, so I've been able to talk about it in the podcasting. And my boss actually, before I left for St. Louis, she was like, I just watched on Netflix 7 Days Out. It's a little documentary thing, and she's like, and I watched one on League of Legends, like NA LCS like finals, and she's like, holy crap. She's like, that's some legit stuff. I was like, yeah, it is. Which, by the way, it's a great documentary if you guys haven't watched it. It's on Netflix.
I might check it out. What was it called again?
7 Days Out. It's just, I think there's like 6 episodes, and it's 7 days out from whatever event. Like they do Kentucky Derby, a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's cool.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah. But we may have had the week or little over a week off, but some stuff did happen, and we of course talked about the Stitches and Sylvanas reworks. We will be talking about Stitches this week for the Hero of the Week, but we do have other stuff to hop into. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on into the news. All right, first up, guys, I don't know if you heard, but the winter event is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. I finally got my kid voice.
I have experienced it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Have you guys all gotten your kid voice yet then? You made your lap?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm almost done with my second lap.
Ooh.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
The second lap goes much faster because you don't have those cards. So I'm about halfway through my second lap, I think. But again, I haven't been able to play for like a week. But it is so awesome that it is being extended through February 4th. So we still have over a month.
Which is awesome. Yeah, no, I love this because, I mean, it's a way to unlock some new stuff, do extra laps, and just keep it going. So, I see no harm in this.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with if future events came out and had longer lifespans like this too.
This is by far the best one they've done. So if they were to extend any, this is definitely the one to extend.
Yeah, for sure. To crank out those chests, I think. So I bought the bundle, and then I bought one of the unicorn plushies with shards.
Yep.
And then I've gotten 2 of the lion mounts from chests, which is cool. Because those didn't come in the bundle, and they're really cool mounts. So
yeah, I got the lion.
Those are only
from
600 shards.
Yes, they are.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, I got the lion. I'm considering, because I've got some BattleNet balance from Christmas laying around. Just trying to decide what to spend that on, but I might grab the bundle up real quick.
But yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm sure we'll see on Reddit or something by the end of the event, like the amount of laps somebody gets up to? Because I'm sure there's
Oh yeah.
going to be some ridiculous numbers put up.
Apparently 50 is the cap.
It's the cap.
Oh, there's
well,
a
I guess,
cap. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
You know how many games that would be?
It's a lot.
That is so many games.
50s, that's a weird cap, though, because I guess that's like for chess, maybe.
Yeah, like you can get up to 50 of those rare chests because you get a rare one every time.
And then, but does the
go
counter?
around.
Does the counter stop? Because that's weird for it to stop.
I don't
at 50.
know.
If it, I mean, it's double digits. Should be able to go to 99.
I want to see if
It
anybody
might, though.
even gets close to that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that's a lot of games.
We got someone in chat. Perry is claiming to be at 27.
Yeah.
So already over halfway there, man.
Half
Just
note
do it.
says challenge accepted. Let's break it. So get 50 chests. Hopefully get up to 99, and then if you get 100, maybe the board blows up or something. I don't know.
Okay, so what's the key though? Like, if you are trying to do laps and run a marathon here, like, are you trying to get the MVP in quick match or whatever the shorter one is, or are you just farming out? Like, I'm literally asking the gentleman in chat. Are you farming it out in AI or however?
I mean, you'd think AI would be faster, technically.
Just because
For
it's
sure.
guaranteed.
Because you can almost, especially like if you take Hammer for the AI matches, you can almost guarantee yourself MVP every
Right.
time.
Yeah. Perry says best way farm AI. Have to.
Have
So,
to, yeah, makes sense.
It does. So we
You
will.
guarantee winning games.
Yeah, we'll be enjoying that, and it's also, good to gives you some time to hold out if maybe you haven't bought the bundle yet because you're trying to unlock that stuff from chests. Just don't forget, like I always do.
Which, if you're trying to save money, is technically the right call.
It is.
Hold off on the bundle until the last moment, because then if you unlock anything in it, it'll flex down. So,
Yeah, it'll get cheaper.
you know.
It will. All right. What else happened while we were gone here? Matchmaking updates did happen, and I haven't played Quick Match since this, because this happened actually on December 21st.
On
This
the
came out.
21st.
Yeah.
Right?
Seems so long ago now, but I've just been playing Team League since then. But Dylan Bates came out, community manager, to explain some of the stuff they have implemented that did not require a client patch or anything, so they wanted to make sure people knew about it. When they introduced the call to the Nexus, they saw a significant increase in match quality, which I would completely agree with. The
Totally.
composition seemed really, really good. But apparently in certain regions, that also drastically increased the queue time, which they said is not a great trade-off there. So in response, they temporarily loosened how rigid the rules are when it comes to enforcing the meta compositions. But they still want to create as many standard compositions as possible while also putting the quick back in quick match. And they will look to make improvements on the system going forth. So,
And do we know if this loosening was across the board, or was it just in the regions in which this was a big problem?
that is a good question.
It's across the board.
Yeah, it seems like it by the way it's written.
So I've experienced this a few times because of course, what is the first thing I do when I get home? I played tons of Heroes last night because I needed my fix.
Oh yeah.
And there were out of the several matches I played, there was one match that had only a healer, and there was one match that had only a tank and no healer. So it seems like it tries to give you the best case. So not like the all assassins type
Oh,
thing
yeah.
or all specialists. It seems like it's at least trying to throw in a tank or a healer, even if it can't give you the tank and the healer. So that's just from a very small subset of match experiences. But several of the matches I played did have the tank and the healer, which was super nice. And even when we didn't queue as both.
Right.
But I mean, got into all of them pretty quick, and I mean, it's quick match. I'm used to not having strict meta enforcement
Yeah, right.
completely. So
All
it's-
specialists.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem too bad, and none of my queue times were more than 30 seconds last night. So
Good. Whenever you had where it was, missing a tank or healer, was it still trying to mirror that on the other side, or were you guys
It did.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
See, that's important.
Yeah.
Like I had a Hanamura game where neither side had a tank, but both sides had healers.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, because it, is not fun as it is playing a game like without a healer, as long as it's mirrored on both sides to, not give a team a distinct advantage, then that's good.
They've done a pretty good job of mirroring for some time, though. But I do remember a day in which it wasn't necessarily the case. So, yeah.
Yes. But they also made some changes to Hero League matchmaking, specifically when it comes to the higher level players for Master and Grandmasters. It's been heavily skewed for that level on focusing on the match quality, which has made it pretty hard for those players to find a game in reasonable amounts of time. So with that, they are expanding for Hero League. Master and Grandmaster players can now be matched with allies and opponents who are within Diamond, Diamond 1 through 5. So the quality is still going to be prioritized, and then it will expand out to that after some time,
Sure.
and they will continue to iterate on that stuff. That's, I imagine, pretty unfortunate if you're one of those players, because that's a pretty big pretty big skill gap, but with a lot of people moving strictly to Team League now. And then, I'm sure we, of course, did lose some players whenever the announcements came out before the break.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the right call for now. It's easy for me to say that, not being a Master or Grandmaster player, especially with us moving up to the combining of rank systems. Hopefully,
just look at the amount of high-level players that probably aren't playing anymore.
Yeah.
Simply because
yeah.
they can't because of their livelihoods.
Yeah.
That's a huge population, probably, of Grandmasters for the most part. Although I'm sure almost all pro players are probably Master rank or above from a Hero League perspective, at least. So that does make a lot of sense. That at least for a while there's going to be that big void of Grandmaster players.
Well, even all that aside, though, I still have to think that, to Gizmo's point about Team League, I have to think that the population of Hero League is down by comparison anyway. So, like, even
Which
without
we have
everything we
numbers
just
to back
discussed,
up.
yeah, even without everything we just mentioned, it already was a smaller pool, and thus, that's why the change is coming here to Hero League and not Team League similarly. So, and again, when they meld them both and have one league, that'll solve the problem, I believe, in anyway. So
it'll definitely solve at least part of the population issue,
right,
in a lot of ways, which I think will be really good to have that combined rank system, and we're going to talk about that here shortly. But I'm hoping we see that prioritized pretty heavily for next season.
Yeah. Which, actually moving on to that-ish, kind of, Kale Milker came out with another post. This was also on December 21st. Just wanted to kind of check in and let us know as much as he can about what their plans are moving forward. First thing he touches on is the next few months. Said are going to unfold pretty much as originally planned, including the new hero that was announced and in the PTR currently, which isn't super surprising because they plan out so far in advance that, and we talked about this, even with all this stuff happening, they have things like set, ready to go. So the next few months seem like they're still going to be pretty on track. And then beyond that, the team is currently kind of discussing what it is they want to focus on moving forward, and that while the team is smaller, they're still fully functional and they can create the features and content that we all want in time. But he can't really give too much more because they're still early on in those conversations. And again, this was right before them going up to break. But one of the things they did want to give us details on is, they're reconsidering some very core areas of the game to identify more ways they can make heroes even better for players. And a few of the many things they are currently discussing include finalizing the hero role overhaul, timing for the rollout of ranked play consolidation and improvements they discussed at BlizzCon, bringing back the ability to directly purchase individual skins with gems.
Hallelujah!
I knew you were going to say that.
Adding the ability to get more content like skins and mounts with gold. So these are
some really good stuff in that list.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like we talked about some of these things on our most recent episode.
We did,
before
because
this was
this was
like all of them.
This was pretty
maybe.
close to it, because we didn't know what the plans were for the stuff that they announced at BlizzCon. But from this, it sounds like at least some of that stuff they're still focusing on. But again, they're going to be discussing everything else. But yeah, ranked play. The fact that is still, that consolidation is still on the table is extremely good news. And then we've talked about the store several times and the state of the store, and a lot of people have, and it sounds like they are able to kind of listen to that now, which is good.
And the role overhaul is huge too. That's one where we weren't sure they'd be able to squeeze it in like a smaller group and a more stretched out schedule, but no, that was still top of this list, it looks like. So
yeah.
Well, considering what they talked about, they said the next few months will unfold much like we'd originally planned, and then we're going to have to discuss further out. What that tells me is that the hero role overhaul and the ranked play consolidation and a lot of the ranked improvements are much closer to actually being done than we may have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a really good thing, because those are some pretty big features. And so if they can get those in, and like I said, we were just discussing this, I really hope we see the rank play consolidation sooner rather than later, next season being, I think, the optimal time to introduce, at the very least, the Hero League Team League merger. Maybe not the viewable MMR and the performance-based matchmaking stuff, whatever. But at the very least, let's get those two combined. Let's get that population of ranked all into one queue. And bam, now you've got most likely much faster game queue times and much better match quality, just because all the people are there.
Yeah. I think that's really big, and we'll have to see. I mean, we're not super far along into this season, so we still got some time on it. So I think there's some hope of that potentially happening next season.
Well, and honestly, just looking at this already, and a few of the devs have popped by Twitter or forums or Reddit or whatever, and have talked about now with this change, even with the smaller team, how now potentially development priorities can shift to be more community focused, or whatever. And so seeing on December 21st, mind you, the talk of bringing back the ability to directly purchase individual skins with gems and adding the ability to get more content like skins and mounts with gold, that to me is a huge signal of just directional shift. That
in like
maybe
the business
couldn't
model
happen.
of the game.
In the business model of the game, that maybe couldn't happen before, because of let's be honest. I mean, HGC was a heck of a marketing budget, and because that's what mostly esports. I would venture to say most esports probably don't make much money, if any at all, for the games.
Just by views?
Just by views.
No, it's a marketing.
It's a big
deal.
marketing thing. And I'm sure that's a big part of a game's marketing budget in a lot of ways. So you cut that out, all of a sudden, and we don't know how much HGC costs. We don't. They never talked about it. They never released any numbers. We don't know how much it was running in the red or, anything like that. All we know is from this announcement that they didn't think from a cost perspective it was sustainable or worth it. So, yes, we got a little smaller development team. Yes, HGC is gone. But if we at least want to look on the positive side of things, now the Heroes team does not have a multi-million-dollar quote-unquote marketing budget hanging over their head that is dictating you need to do this and this and this and this to make the game successful or to draw in so-and-so people or whatnot. And so potentially maybe that means we see a shift, and we've already got it, kind of gotten hints toward it, of maybe they start doing the community stuff. Maybe we'll start seeing some more cool stuff with custom games like we've talked about before. Maybe they'll release the map thing right now. Maybe the team is smaller. That doesn't give them a whole lot of time to make a ton of new maps anymore. Maybe in a year or two, that goes to the community.
Yeah.
And the community makes those, and Blizzard promotes the cream of the crop into the game itself. I mean, we've seen the same type of thing with StarCraft Arcade, right? StarCraft Arcade, in a lot of ways, when that base game of StarCraft went free to play, really revitalized the game because modding scenes are a big deal in the game. And so how cool would that be if we see that in Heroes and all of a sudden there's now like a custom game lobby or browser, kind of like StarCraft has. There you can make different game modes, or people can make different maps, and a map gets super popular and Blizzard goes, hey, map creator, that is really cool. We'd like to work with you to make this an official thing.
Yeah,
I
potentially.
think it's all possible. Yeah, and we have a question in the chat asking about, okay, will there be enough resources to do all these things? I mean, I don't know, because I can't speak from like a business resourcing perspective for the team or anything like that, obviously. But it seems to me that it's possible. I mean, these folks are still hardcore devs that are on the project and willing to put out content that's good for the community and everything. So I don't see why, like, it might take longer than it might have with the larger team previously. But at the same time, we run into that whole deal where there aren't as many cooks in the kitchen, so the ones working on it can just be all the more streamlined in their work hours, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah,
and priorities change.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
It's amazing what you can do when you prioritize something else. So maybe something that was being super prioritized for the competitive scene, now that's not a super high priority, and other stuff can move up in its place.
Yeah. And one of the things I didn't mention on here of the list, I kind of skimmed through it, of them, currently talking about what future plans are, but not really getting into the details on that right now because they don't know. I should probably read that because this ties in with all of that. So not only are they currently discussing the right cadence for patches and content, but he says we're also reconsidering some very core areas of the game to identify more ways we can make Heroes even better for the players. So
that's the end.
Yes, that's where all this stuff ties in. And, again, we're not going to know. Who knows when we're going to find out some of this stuff. But now they have the option to kind of go in, relook at things, and, potentially we'll see some really cool, some really cool stuff come out of this. So it's
in some ways, it really is actually kind of exciting.
I was gonna say
in some ways, just like reading this, there's not a lot of details yet, but this just kind of sparks my I wonder what they're gonna do now that they are maybe a little more free to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, he laid out in almost point by point fashion a lot of things that we as the community have been looking for, and then also let us know that they're going to continue working on things like the hero role overhaul and such. So, I mean, yeah, my favorite line in this whole thing for sure is the plans moving forward are to be focused on the things that the Heroes team and all of you in our community are excited for. So in my mind, like, again, I mean, Heroes has always been a smaller community by comparison to other communities and other larger games, but I feel like people have a bigger voice now than ever. I mean, if you're a fan and you're going to stick with Heroes long term and you just love the game for the sake of loving the game, get on the forums, get in our Discord, get on HeroesHearth, just throw out ideas, make some character concepts, and Blizzard will be listening. And I think they'll be able to take action on them much better than previously, perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now moving forward into this year. Actually, I don't remember what day he was actually announced, because today's the 2nd. So he was announced last week on Friday.
Like Thursday or Friday last week.
Okay, so technically this was still last year, but it's also this year. Imperius. Imperius has finally been announced. He's one of those heroes that for years now people have been saying, where's Imperius at? Where's Imperius at? I personally have not been like super on the Imperius train just because I really only know him from Diablo 3 and he kind of seemed like a jackhole.
Right.
But
I think that's
okay.
That's pretty heretical speak right there.
I'm just
Gizmo.
saying, you know,
You might even call it sacrilege.
you know, I'm just saying. But I've thought he could be a cool hero, and you know, the spotlight came out. He is in the PTR right now, and he does seem like a pretty cool hero. One of the things I want to point out to this before we get into the hero itself is, so the spotlight came out, and we had some questions, people asking us, I don't remember if it was in our Discord or in chat last week, of people wondering if Kevin was still going to be doing the voice for the spotlights. And I had mentioned that I was pretty sure Kevin would have been on this one because this would have been recorded prior, a while ago.
Ahead of time.
And Kevin sounds very different on this one. And some people thought he sounded really sad. And I thought, it's like, I think he just sounds like sick because he does sound different.
He does. I noticed that too.
He came on the Reddit post actually himself and was talking about how this was in fact recorded like the week after BlizzCon. He was recording it with a cold.
But he had no voice.
Yeah, he's like, I've done, you know, voiceovers with the cold and stuff before. He's like, I'm really sorry if this one like detracted from the content of it, but yeah.
I mean, I thought it was fine, but yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, no, it was fine, but you could just, he sounded different in it. So it wasn't because you know, the announcement came out and then they recorded this video and he was just like, oh, whatever. He's just sick. But so Imperius. There we go. Nope, it's too many things. He is a bruiser, so right now that means warrior. But his kit is kind of reminds me, and I've seen it talked a lot on Twitter, of Blazes. Kind of.
Blaze in a way. I also get some Arthas vibes, but I'll get into that.
Yeah. But I've heard good things about like his play style. So his Q is going to be Celestial Charge. You lunge toward in a target direction, and it's really cool. You stab, dealing 35 damage to heroes. If an enemy hero is hit, you channel to stun for 1 second and deal 70 additional damage when it fully finishes. But you stun by like thrusting them with your spear and lifting everyone up and just holding them on your spear, and it looks really cool.
It's the best thing ever.
The animation on that is insane. Like when I saw the video first, I was like, okay, all right, that's really happening.
Yeah. So
because you can spear anyone, right?
Turns out spears are cool
Hoist
weapons.
big old Diablo up and a Nubarak and whatever.
Hey, he's been lifting.
Apparently.
Yeah. He's a big dude. His W, Solarion's Flare, you will release a fiery wave that deals 100 damage. Enemies hit by the center take 50 bonus damage and are slowed by 40% for 3 seconds. Then his E, Molten Armor, you shroud Imperius in flames for 3 seconds, striking a nearby enemy for 19 damage every 0.25 seconds. Imperius heals for 100% of the damage dealt, with healing doubled versus heroes. And his trait, Valorous Brand. Each basic ability... Valorous Band.
The Angel of Valor.
Okay, he also has Molten Armor, and they're talking about fiery stuff, you know? It's not very angelic. But
what are you talking about?
Valorous Brand. Here we go. Each basic ability marks enemy heroes hit for 10 seconds. Basic attacks consume the target's marks, dealing 30% bonus damage per mark. So kind of like Orphea's, but instead of the healing, it's just more stacked on bonus damage, which is cool.
First, Greg, it's Holy Fire.
It does not say Holy Fire in the text here. I'm just saying.
It's the Holy Fire. And secondly, this is actually, I thought it was like Orphea's originally, but it seems like it's a bit different because you apply one brand per basic ability. So each basic ability has its own individual brand. So you actually would have to hit a person with all three to get all three brands. And there's actually one or two talents that are based upon marking a hero with a specific brand.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Which is really interesting.
So you're not getting the stacks. The people you are hitting are getting the stacks.
Yes.
They're getting debuffed, yeah.
Yeah. And then he has the two heroic abilities, which both of them look really cool. So the first one, Angelic Armaments. When they first announced it, I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. And then it's like, oh, wait, there's a second part to it. So you summon a ring of blazing swords that grant 1,000 shield for 3 seconds. If the shield lasts the full duration, the ability can then be reactivated within 5 seconds to launch 6 swords toward an area, each dealing 140 damage to the first enemy hit. So it's like a shield that if it doesn't go all the way down, it turns into like Li Ming's magic missiles.
Yeah, it does.
And shoots them forward, and it looks really cool.
It seems like that's going to make your opponents have a really weird decision point, because it's like, I mean, you probably don't want to be trying to burst down the bruiser in the first place, even though he's up in your face. But like, typically, I mean, if it was just throwing up a giant shield for 3 seconds and you didn't get any bonus for it lasting that time, then you just ignore him for the 3 seconds and call it good. It's kind of like how Urel's, one of her heroics, works. You know, you just don't attack her when your attacks would heal her, right? But this one, to have like a secondary thing where, okay, well, if you left any part of my shield up, I now get this huge bursting skill shot. Like that's just really interesting as like a heroic design, I think.
Yeah, well, and it makes it to where you can use it in different situations as well. Which is neat. And again, it looks really cool.
Yeah, and they actually talked about him being a duelist in the video. Like he's very they talked about him being very single target damage oriented, and how, you know, even for his molten armor, you're going to do a ton more damage with that if you're one-on-one,
right,
and not in creep waves and such, than if you're in the middle of a bunch of people. That's going to really spread the damage out a lot. But it's one of those things, if you are in the 1v1 situation, you're going to be doing a lot more damage than you would be otherwise.
Yeah.
Plus, Angelic Armaments like gives him these giant glowing wings and looks amazing.
And then his second heroic, Wrath of the Angiris? I'm going to say Angiris. That sounds better. After 0.75 seconds, you charge in the target direction, lifting the first enemy hero hit into the heavens. While in the air, Imperius can steer the landing location by moving after 2 seconds. Slam the target into the ground, dealing 375 damage and stunning them for 1 second. This is like Gorge in Falling Sword had a baby.
It's super anime.
Yeah.
It is kind of, yeah.
It's amazing.
So,
and it seems like it's going to be good too, you know? I mean,
yeah,
some CC, a little displacement, that's always been good.
I've seen this one kind of talked down on through Twitter and stuff, because people are just calling it a weaker Gorge because it can't travel as far or anything like that. And it's like, well, it can't travel as far, but you can go over terrain easier. I don't know. I haven't played either of them yet, but it sounds like it will have its uses, I think.
Well, but you become immune too. I mean, you're up in the air for the 2 seconds, so like... It could be just an escape. Like if all you do is use it as an escape, then you're alive when you wouldn't. Yeah.
But you have to hit a hero. Do you go up into the heavens if you hit with someone?
Yeah, you have to hit someone to go up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because it is so you could technically use the charge portion of it to get away. It would suck to use like an 80-second cooldown to do that. But it's the same with the other charge. You can use your Q to get away, try and get away too, instead of just as an initiate. But that is something to note, that it is a skill shot. It's a pretty wide one for a charge, but it does have a little, like you said, it does have a little bit of a wind up time. So I got thrown off by that a little bit. But once you actually do it, the charge is super fast.
Good. So what's the width like? Is it like what's Cassia's Valkyrie one or whatever that charges towards you?
It's probably pretty similar.
Okay.
To that wide. I don't think the charge might be a little shorter. I've only tried it a few times, so I'm not positive, but I would say it's similar-ish to the Valkyrie from a skill shot size perspective, I guess. It is one of the coolest looking abilities in the game. Like it's pretty freaking epic. And yes, it is kind of like Gorge, but at the same time, it's not at all, because you become absolutely immune after you hit the hero and are in the air. And where Stitches, you can't get hit, but the Stitches one lasts longer than this one does too, because this one's 2 seconds versus 4.
What's the travel distance like once you go up into the air with somebody?
Think honestly, Falling Sword from Johanna.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that's probably a pretty good comparison.
In fact, it even kind of looks like it, interestingly. The other interesting point, too, is that when you're up in the air, you get a little icon on the bottom that shows yourself and the icon of the hero that you grabbed, so your team knows by faceplate who you picked up.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. That's
a nice little quality of life.
Okay.
But I just remembered, too, because I killed myself with this earlier. Celestial Charge, his Q, goes over terrain.
Yes, it does.
Forgot about that. Went over the enemy wall. It is intended to.
Because I went through the wall too.
So you have to be careful using that when you're close to something, because he charges the whole distance regardless of if you hit. I mean, if you hit someone, he stops. But if you miss somebody, he will continue charging the whole distance. So if you're too close to like a wall or something, you go over. Yeah, it's bad. Bad news.
And it's like an 8-second cooldown or something. So you're standing there just taking tower shots.
Like, please, somebody get the wall down.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to try him in PTR. I thought about it today, and then I went and I forgot. Like a couple weeks ago, I deleted PTR because I was moving it from one drive to another, and I haven't reinstalled it yet. But have both of you tried him? I know TBK has.
I did try mode just because, like, I got onto the PTR and I thought, I felt like I had some gems sitting around from previous games. And I thought, maybe I'm 1 or 2 games away from getting it. But no, I guess I had just spent them most recently. So, yeah, it's a good 4 games to get enough gems in the PTR to try them out. Because, I don't know, I feel like there's another bit of feedback for you, Blizzard, if you're listening. If you could cut that down a little bit as well, it just kind of enables us to hop in and try them out a little bit easier.
Because there's that quest for just play 3 games in the PTR to give you the gems.
The play 3, is that enough for it?
Yeah, play 3. 850. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll get you enough. I actually got on earlier, and I went to buy him on the PTR, and it said content unlocking not available at this time. I was like, oh, crap. And so I searched him in the hero thing. He wasn't listed in the hero thing at all for try mode. So I was like, I wonder. So I went to heroes. I went in the collection. I went to heroes. I went to skins. And I scrolled down. And Imperius was listed there. But it only showed his 3 demonic skins. So I clicked on one. And the try button was on there. So I was just like, ha ha.
There you go.
And so I was able to try him out from there.
Huh. So did you just do try mode as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't. I honestly, because this was a PTR that didn't come out on the normal Monday.
Yeah.
Because holidays makes sense. It came out today, and so I had a few hours when I got home before we actually recorded to even try anything. And so when I jumped on, I was going to try an AI game real quick. And it was just like, yeah, it's not available right now. So I was just like, need to figure out a way around the system. I've actually not tried his normal skin. I've tried his demonic skin, though, and it looks pretty cool.
That's interesting, because I wonder if that was... I imagine they got it resolved, because I watched people streaming him in Quick Match, so...
that must have been a recent thing this evening.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like that.
Like a short bug that was happening temporarily or so.
Potentially.
Yeah.
So regardless then, trying him out in try mode, how did he feel overall? Because they were talking about in the spotlight his, he's very kind of combo based with his Q and then his W and then E, which is nice that it's, in that order. which I'm sure you can change up with some talents and stuff. But did he feel all right? Like his attack, because he's a duelist, so what's his attack speed like? Does it hit very hard? How did he feel with sustain and stuff?
It hits pretty hard, but it's slower
For sure.
for an auto attack.
Like a Ragnaros?
I'd say like an Arthas again. I don't know.
Okay.
He's got a lot of Arthas-esque feel to me, at least personally. Mostly, honestly, in just the way that he wades into battle, except for the charge, of course. And then also his E, so the Molten Armor, gives you that same kind of like field around you as the Howling Winds or whatever it is on Arthas. And although it works differently, of course, because the flames, spread out, striking every 0.25 seconds. And also it doesn't cause a slow, at least initially. So you got to really stay on top of them to get those shots off. But so, I mean, in those reasons, I think there's some comparisons that can be done with Arthas, especially when, the new role system comes out and they probably both get categorized as bruisers and all that good stuff. But yeah, no, I think he feels good. Tri-mode's really hard to gauge, like sustain and that kind of thing, because the Arthas you're playing against isn't really doing much against you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the feel of it for sure. I've always been drawn to characters with kits like that anyway. I mean, I'm still a big Arthas fan himself, so yeah, it'll take some more testing, but I didn't get a chance to try Wrath of the Angrius, but I did the armaments just to see what the shots are like, and yeah, spot on. It does kind of feel like Li Ming's shots there. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it really does. I think he's got some great combo potential. And I was messing around with a few of the talent builds. It looks like he'll have some very tanky builds, like not as much damage oriented, but just survive forever type builds. And then there's definitely some more talents that lend themselves more to like the duelist and the actual secondary bruiser, more like a Sonya type role, where you can do a lot more damage and sacrificing some of that sustain. That could be kind of cool too. So
he's kind of like Mal'Ganis in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
As I was going through his talent tier tree, rather, I was noticing a lot of that too. Like you could go a route that really protects you against basic attacks. You could go some routes that really help you out with spells. Often trading damage for that, or you go for damage, and it seems like Mal'Ganis's tree has a lot of similar decisions to do as you're going through. So I don't know if that's just a general design trend that they're going for with these bruisers now, but it makes sense, and it makes for like interesting decisions as you go through.
I kind of feel like with the right talent build, you could actually main tank him.
Possibly. And against certain comps too. So one of his level 20s is a giant spell shield. Interestingly, it's like hardened skin, but with spells, and then you get some other. I'd have to look it up to know exactly, but you get some other perks there too. But the level 20 that they mentioned in the video, where you can blink instantly to the target that you have marked with your passive.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one's super fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that thing is on a 15-second cooldown.
Yep.
Really?
And that is
Pretty awesome.
up all the time, so you're constantly snapping back to whatever you're fighting.
Wow. Yeah,
that could be really good for the fully damage focused build, because that's just makes you so sticky to your target, because it's you hit them, they try to get away from you, you blink to them, boom, another charge, stun while your molten armor's going, and you throw out your W, slow them if you hit them in the middle. And then by the time you've gotten all those combos off, you're almost ready to teleport to them again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's called Valorous Pursuit.
Or even, if you're winning that fight, but if you go in, you're going to die, you can back out, rotate, get some heals, and then dash towards them again. That sounds really cool. That's the talent, and then the talent that turns Solarian's Flare into kind of the laser from the Protector on Volskaya, to where after a couple seconds it then erupts in the middle to do some more bonus damage. Mm-hmm. That's the other one I remember. But yeah, I think he looks cool. His kit looks really cool. I haven't dug into his talents too much yet, but I'm excited because it's been almost 2 months since our last hero. About a month and a half, I guess, because Orphea was announced at BlizzCon but didn't go live for a couple weeks after.
He's got, for one last note, some pretty fun level 1 quest talents as well. I don't remember exactly the W1 with the Solarian's Flare. You just get enough of those off to stack up. But the charge one is literally you get one part of it done if you spear 2 people, and the other part done when you spear 3 people, and bonuses with that. So
kind of like an Alarak type thing.
Significant.
Alarak style, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's significant. If you spear 2 people, that's 2 seconds off the cooldown permanently of charge, and if you spear 3 people, that's another 2 seconds off the cooldown permanently.
And that's an 8-second cooldown, right? So you can get it down to 4 seconds.
No, I think it's a 10-second cooldown.
Oh, okay.
So you can get it down to 6.
Which is still huge.
That's pretty nuts, especially So I've been watching McIntyre play some Alarak, which, good lord, if you guys didn't see the game before this show, he did like 240,000 hero damage in a game on Alarak. It was nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he gets that quest done like on the first engagements in lane, like every time. And I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried. And I think I've only completed that quest like twice, so I need to work on it. But yeah, I'm excited to play him, and hopefully this next Tuesday we'll see him in game. And I haven't checked out his demonic skins yet, but TBK, you said they were cool. I believe we can officially have a full angel team now.
So
with Diablo, Imperius, Ariel, Tyrael.
Yeah, I guess he's a fallen angel.
He's got the skin. He's got the angelic skin.
And Vala.
That's true.
Yeah, Vala's got the angelic skin. We got Ariel.
It's a real comp, too.
That's 5. Yeah, that's a real comp.
Yeah.
So funny related story, right? So over the holidays, actually at New Year's, we had my brother-in-law and his fiance over, and we played this game called Geek Out, which, without getting into it too far, you have to you're given a category of things and you have to name off as many as you can. And so one of my questions was, I had to name fictional angels that are not named in the Bible. And I was like, oh, God, okay, fine. Tyrael, Malthael, Ariel, Imperius. Done. Just rock that thing. So thank you, Diablo team, for an easy question there. And that does go to show you how many freaking angels there are in this game now.
Yeah, I think we're only missing, one from the Angelic Council now? Because Malthael, Imperius, Ariel, Tyrael, and there was one other one.
Wasn't there one? Yeah, the one other one.
Forgive my Diablo lore.
That helped one of the
Illithar or
Izawal. Is he on the council?
I don't know.
Good old Izzy. I don't know. Someone in chat.
Ethereal.
We'll have to look this up.
Ethereal.
So I was close.
Ethereal.
I was close.
So I don't know.
So we've almost got the full 5 Angelic Council in game now. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Just needs more demons and primevals. Still waiting on Bile.
I don't know much about Bile either. I don't know. But yes, so this should go live next Tuesday, but there were a few changes, and by a few, I mean a very few changes in the PTR as well to some of the current heroes. Abathur, Evolved Monstrosity, got a pretty big buff. It's hard without doing math, but
it's a weird one.
Yeah,
it's a weird one. So technically, they increased the health and they increased the basic attack damage, but the health bonus per minion killed was reduced from 5 to 2%, and the damage bonus per minion killed was reduced from 5 to 2%. And so someone mathed it out, and that makes the monstrosity stronger and health-wise until the 13th minion, but only stronger damage-wise until the 7th minion.
Okay,
or something like that. So it was really kind of weird because everyone was just like, why are you nerfing monstrosity, guys? And Liz Naiman dropped by the subreddit and said, we're updating our patch notes with developer comments to clear this up, which they're not up yet. But there was a bug fix to monstrosity. Yeah. There was a bug fix to monstrosity where it wasn't scaling properly. Now that we fixed the bug, we're also adjusting the balance for this bug fix.
So, I see what you did there. Fix the bug. Because he's a yeah.
So I don't know what the bug was that was causing the scaling issues, or if
It's been
it
in
was
there a
way
while,
overpowered or way underpowered because of the bug, but that is the official why for this change.
Interesting.
I don't hate the change philosophically either, because like I have felt like at the very beginning it's kind of weak, and if you pick it off really early, then okay, done deal. But that I've also had games where for one reason or another you just leave it alone for too long, and then you go up to try to go toe to toe with it, and it's just ripping your face off, and you're like, what? So yeah, I mean, I think this is fine. It would require some testing to see how it feels different, but
yeah. All right. Arthas, Cindergosa no longer disables enemy summons, and enemy summons are now slowed by 60% for 4 seconds. And then
so that's like Ultralisk, right?
Yeah, Ultralisk, Gary.
The most common summon.
Gargantuan.
Yeah, I know.
And then Diablo level 1 Soul Shield. Soul Shield will now dynamically update if Diablo gains souls while the spell armor is active. Don't know what that means.
The buff. Seems like he gets more spell armor if he's getting souls while it's active.
Okay.
So like mid shield, it'll get stronger.
Okay.
So I mean, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Seems good.
Yeah. But that is it for the PTR. Were there any other big bug fixes or anything? I didn't notice anything.
I don't see there. Have we seen this crystalline saddled battle beast yet?
The what?
Or is that yet to be? There's a new mount listed.
Yeah,
it's listed, but have we seen it? Is it in
I
the
have
PTR?
not. I have not seen it.
Yeah.
But it does make reference to one.
I'm still upset about the crab that I didn't get it.
You should be. It's amazing. I'm using it all the time now.
I see it so often, and it's like, man. So, dang it.
Maybe one day there will be a way to go back.
What did the Grandmaster or the Master Crab look like? Just more spikes?
Armor crab.
Armor crab?
More spiky crab, something like that.
So
I have not actually seen one in game yet.
Well, we don't play with
the
those
crab?
people.
No, the spiky crab, yeah.
Those people are above us.
It's true.
TBK, we got a little bit to talk about as far as updates in the tournament talk. So we'll go ahead and hop on
this is a brand new segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the
Never
same
done
bumper.
this before.
Same bumper. Yes, tournament talk. I don't know if we mentioned this last week, but it was actually tournament talk before it was HGC was a thing. So
long ago. So we're bringing it back, guys, because we got to be all encompassing now. So we do have some really good updates from a tournament perspective. So first off, /GG recently just announced is an organization dedicated to creating esports communities where players can match their skills against similarly skilled players. And today they have announced they're beginning their adventure by launching the first league in the game that brought us all together, introducing Heroes Open. Heroes Open is an NA-based Heroes of the Storm competitive league for gamers of all skill levels. The TLDR is your team will be placed in a group with 9 other teams for an exciting 9-week season that includes a round-robin group stage followed by a bracket tournament. It's a free league where you battle for fun and glory among your peers. The sign-ups are now open and will close on January 29th. The first week of play will begin February 5th. And then on the 1st of February, they will host a live stream meet and greet to introduce themselves, answer your questions, go over information, and more. The link for that will be in the show notes, and I will, of course, link that in the Twitch chat as well. So this is a competitive for fun thing. So definitely check that out. Now for a competitive, I'm sure it's going to be fun.
I mean, it's no fun.
Not for fun. Not for fun. No, but for fun and money. Heroes Lounge Division S. Heroes Lounge, of course, is one of the biggest amateur HOTS scenes, and they've been around for quite some time. They started on the EU side, and they recently, season or two ago maybe, started the NA side of Heroes Lounge. And one of the big things that came out of the HGC cancellation announcement was this Heroes Lounge Division S that they had talked about but had shelved for a while because of HGC. Well, when that got canceled, they brought it back. And so they are doing a crowdfund initially for the tournament prizes for this kind of elite division. And they're going to be talking to sponsors and other stuff to get this going as well. Most of the Division S games will actually be cast by Caldor, which is really cool. As I don't know if you guys remember, but pre-HGC, Caldor actually solo casted a ton of stuff for a lot of the big amateur tournaments and some of the Heroes Lounge. He's been around doing Heroes Lounge stuff for quite a while. And so he will be the main caster for their big Division S high-level competition where teams from Europe and NA can compete in their own region. The teams will be competing in a round-robin format for a crowdfunded prize pool. Teams will have a chance to drop out of the division via crucibles, with new teams being able to fight their way in via qualifiers. The timeline for this is signups started for the qualifiers open the beginning of this month, and they will be played. The qualifiers themselves will be played on the 2nd and 3rd of February. The league play will start at the beginning of March. And the signups for this can be found via the Heroes Line website. Of course, we'll have that in the show notes as well if you're interested.
So this
as
an
of
invitation too
yeah,
for now? Okay.
Open invitation for the qualifiers.
Until it starts rolling, and then you have to qualify to get in. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, they actually hit their first crowdfund goal of
Quick.
$10,000. They hit it quick, yeah. And they're currently at almost $13,600 out of their next $15,000 crowdfund prize pool. It's not HGC money, but it's really cool to see a proof of concept, I guess, in a lot of ways for competitive heroes again. And so if they're using this initial crowdfund as kind of a testing the waters, or as a, hey, sponsors, look how much money we raised just out of crowdfunding or using as a supplement or something, and they want to go bigger for subsequent seasons, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that there's going to be a place where I can watch high-level heroes and casted by a very solid caster. And they've even brought in some very experienced German and French casters, I believe. And they also recently announced that Trixler will be guest casting, not all the time, but sometimes. So we will still get our Caldor Trixler casting duo for high-level heroes every once in a while, which is super awesome.
See, that's great news. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So that's really, really cool. So here, that's Heroes Lounge. That's something they're pushing. And I wish them lots of success because high-level hero stuff is really cool. From the other side of the competitive standpoint, we've been talking a little bit about how Workhorse, founder of HeroesHearth, and several other orgs and sponsors and high-level teams have all been kind of powwowing to figure out potentially something a little more long-term, potentially something a little bigger. And we talked about that a little bit last show, and there was one update since then where he talked about, hey, the HeroesHearth crew and I have been exploring every possible option, how to make competitive heroes happen on high level. It's been a pleasure to speak with everybody. Thank you, everyone, for reaching out. Big congrats to Heroes Lounge for putting together such a great community response to their Division S. He says at this point he's unable to share with you our full plan of action. We have a bunch of people trying to connect on several fronts, and when doing something this big, it takes time to mobilize as many parties in a responsible way as possible. But they're making tons of progress. Things slowed down a little bit for the holidays, but they did share what they're planning on doing. So number one, something that will help solve the greater HGC void problem. This will be the big picture, big prize pool, big talent type events that we are all wishing for, and that I am seeing in the most of the emails and messages that people have sent him. In turn, they're working with a slew of other organizations to pool our collective resources to create the highest quality experience possible. I'd love to talk more about this, but this isn't just a Heroes Hearth thing, and it's not our place to spill the beans until all the ducks are in the row, but something is coming, and it will be rad. And then finally, a Heroes Hearth produced show that will function as a fun complement to the first thing. The show is something they've been wanting to do for a long time, and they're pretty amped about it, and they'll be launching that after that first project is announced. That's a fun supplement to the broader competitive scene. So that sounds a little something like what was that called? It was the show Gillian Dredd did.
Eye of the Storm?
First season of HGC.
No, not next.
Not sure. I mean, they have it in other.
Gosh,
I know it's been a while. I
know of one.
It's
like Overwatch League has like the Overwatch League Network podcast, which is kind of a show that covers it specifically, but focuses on some of the fun too. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an ESPN show in a way, right?
Yeah,
the host
man,
kind of analyzing it, but having a
that's
little
what
fun.
It was. Yeah,
because I don't know.
Lana did the HGC Minute
Mm-hmm.
for the second season of HGC, which was kind of in the similar vein. But Gillian Dredd did a little bit of a longer show during the first season that went over a lot of the statistics, strategy, and stuff like that. So I would assume that that's probably a little more the aim, the ESPN type angle, to make it feel very much like sports stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, analysis, but then also, I mean, they mentioned that it's a fun complement, so, it's just some laid-back conversation and such. I'm into shows like that.
For sure. This stuff sounds so cool, and really everything we've talked about in the tournament section, just still has me so amped and pumped to be a part of this community. And I'm excited for this year.
Oh, yeah.
2019's the year. I can feel it.
Yeah. I mean, Heroes started with stuff like this. It started as the grassroots scene with the grassroots tournaments. Yes, HGC is gone. Yes, the community as a whole may not ever be able to reach HGC levels of funding and stuff, but pooling resources and getting organizations and sponsors and doing it kind of on our terms, on the community's terms, we can probably, and I expect that we will see something put together that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't rival it, it will still be enough that a competitive scene of sorts can still prosper, even if it's not something where a person will be able to live off of it.
Right.
They can certainly justify spending a decent portion of time doing it.
Beyond the Nexus.
Beyond the Nexus. That sounds
Beyond
right.
the Nexus? Yeah.
Yeah, Beyond the Nexus. That sounds right.
But yeah,
Xander.
Another cool thing about this stuff, this is kind of wishful thinking, but if there's, ever been anyone borderline thinking about trying out Heroes and stuff, just seeing if we're able to create something that's cool and to kind of community built, showing the world that this game's awesome. It's worth fighting for. The community behind it's awesome. Come check it out.
And I mean, honestly, if I had really stellar out of this world game mechanics in the game and a killer reaction time, and I was maybe even coming from another MOBA, I see no harm in at least trying one of these out. Get a team together, see what you can make happen. You never know.
I may
qualify to the Heroes Lounge S League and stick around. So
I may have considered it
and win some money
until I played with McIntyre last week, and it was again one of those moments where it's just you think you understand the game and its mechanics, and then he just does stuff where it's I don't even it feels like he's manipulating the game. He's so good.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand it. Teach me the ways. So, yeah. Let's makes me feel bad about myself.
Greg, we appreciate you.
I know.
It's going to be okay.
Hey, I'm climbing through Team League. I'm working on it. I got placed in Team League in Gold 4, immediately dropped to 5, and I'm on my way up. As long as I can get that into Plat before the merger, I'll be good to go.
I'll help you.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and hop on into our Stitches discussion for our Hero of the Week.
Hero of the Week.
All right, Stitches. My man Stitches. He is my go-to tank now in Team League. And I love him very much. And he's a good boy.
My large teddy bear boy.
Yep.
Is he a man or is he a lot of men stitched together?
He's a teddy bear.
It's true.
He's a teddy bear.
As far as I'm concerned, he's permanently a teddy bear.
Yeah.
I kind of want to I want to go to Build-A-Bear now and buy like 3 or 4 bears and then rip them up and then build one bear from like 4 or 5 bears and name him Stitches.
And then tear his stomach out.
Yes, naturally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Naturally.
Seems good. Yeah.
So good old Stitches here. It's been this rework was announced at BlizzCon, came out 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, about a month ago, something like that. And we've been having a good time with him. So it's time to do our Hero of the Week rework on him. For those of you that may have not heard our Hero of the Weeks before, because they are further spaced out now as our cadence has slowed down between hero releases. Each time a hero is released or a significant rework is done, we'll usually, at least for hero releases, do it the week after the release. Gives us time to figure some stuff out. And really, it's just kind of a basic walkthrough of the build, or the hero, kind of a build that we have found to be a good balance between competitive and easy access for entry on that hero. Sometimes those two line up really well, sometimes they don't, but we like him. And this seems to be a pretty good build, in all honesty. So
I've been running this pretty exclusively.
Yeah, and I
with
do
little tweaks here and there.
I do for the most part. There's a couple I think we differ on.
Yeah.
But I've only I play him in Team League now. I've only played him like 2 times in Team League. I've played him less than 10 times since this rework came out. And I'm gonna give you a real big tip here before we even get into it. It really helps. I mean, really, really helps if you read the entire talent before making decisions.
Yeah. I feel like that's good advice in general.
It's really good advice because trust me,
yeah.
Because it depends. Sometimes when I'm going through a hero, mostly new heroes, like I'll actually take time and go through and read the talents before getting in the game. With Stitches on this rework, I did not do that. And sometimes when you pick talents in the middle of games, even if you read the whole thing, sometimes you read it wrong. And going back,
that is true.
I am now understanding that I in fact did that for some of these talents, and they make more sense now. They're even better than I thought they were.
I can see why you did that, because it's a rework for sure, but a lot of the things that made Stitches are still there. I mean, apart from the ranges of certain abilities, the abilities somewhat work the same. I mean, you can talent into them differently and do all kinds of stuff, of course. And the feel of the character is really different. But I could see how you could think to yourself, oh, well, yeah, there's some changes, but I'll just make a W build or whatever and call it good. But then miss out on little things like that. So yeah, let's be sure to read the whole thing as we go through this.
For sure. So one of the things that changed for him on here on his base kit was, of course, his trait, the Vile Gas, where basic attacks splash Vile Gas, poisoning nearby enemies for 45 damage over 3 seconds. Reapplying Vile Gas increases the current duration to a maximum of 10 seconds. His other basic abilities are more or less the same. Slam was changed up a little bit with more damage done on the center of the impact area and a slow being built into that as well. So let's go ahead and hop on into the build here. In TBK, what are we going with at level 1?
Level 1 right now, it's pretty skewed because it's really powerful. especially now with the new quick match comps and it's enabling your tank and your healer in most games, is Patchwork Creation. This increases regeneration effects and all healing received by 15% as a baseline. And then whenever a nearby enemy minion dies, it restores 30 health, and takedowns restore 300 health.
But it's more than that because you're increasing your regen by 15%. So the 30 plus that 15%, right? When a minion dies? I mean, it's all healing received. Or does your own self-healing not count?
Or is the 30 health already taking into account the 15%? Who knows?
Need some math on
this. I would assume it is if it's on the tooltip, but it might be. Regardless, it's really powerful, especially if you have a healer, and this works off of your Devour too. Yeah, which is really nice.
Then self-healing would count. As would health globes and fountains, everything.
Fountains, everything, because it's all regeneration effects. And I found that if you get grenaded, you will only have negative 85 healing with this trait. Insane. I don't know if it's meant to do that, but that was one thing I was noticing before I left for vacation the other day. Is if you take Patchwork Creation, it actually showed me at 85% healing.
That
instead of functioning like 100. Armor or
but if
I feel like
following math,
like that.
It shouldn't, because Anna's grenade reduces healing by 100%, which would be 0, and if you multiply 0 by 15%, it's still 0. So,
well, but 100 minus 15% is 85%.
Yeah, and so that's
see how it worked out. But I feel like I get you philosophically. Right now. But yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not. But I was at least noticing that it was doing that before I went on vacation in a lot of the games I was playing. So I was like, bonus, that's cool. The one I like to do if I don't have a healer is one of my favorite ones in his old kit called Savor the Flavor. And that's when Devour hits a hero, Stitches heals for an additional 10% of his max health and mana over 5 seconds. So this one's actually pretty cool because Stitches can be a little mana hungry, especially if you're spamming your stuff quite a bit. And so this actually offsets that quite a bit by getting you extra health and mana back. And then when you hit enemy heroes with Devour, it increases Stitch's health regeneration by 1 permanently every time you do it. That's a quest built in, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a quest built in. And there's a lot of really nice Devour talents as well as we go further down. So it can lead into a pretty cool build. But right now, Patchwork Creation with a healer is just super nice.
I do go that most of the time. I've actually never gone Savor the Flavor. But on maps like Braxis, where I can get a significant amount of globes fairly consistently, I have been experimenting with Hungry for More. And this is one where it's a quest where gathering a generation globe increases Stitch's maximum health by 30 seconds. And then reward for it, every 15 globes gathered permanently increases Stitch's movement speed by 5% up to 20%. I've seen one person complete this whenever I was just playing with them, and he can book it if you complete that quest, and does really cool things with like Gorge and stuff. And plus, you can just get a ton. You can get real beefy with your health pool on that. I don't know if it's better than the Patchwork Creation because that's just a lot of extra healing, but it is kind of fun to experiment.
Yeah, because like the globe is a ramp up. And
yeah,
right.
Hungry for More was actually really good when it was on one of the earlier talent tiers.
Yeah.
But put up against these two choices, it loses a lot of its, I think, strengths that it had when it was a talent tier or two in before.
I think it's more of a niche thing now. Of like, if you're trying to do something specific, then this might be the thing. But for general purposes, Patchwork Creation's kind of like TBK said, the go-to.
And the other thing about Hungry for More too, I do like it, and I actually play with it quite a bit too. But it also changes the way you play, at least slightly. You know, you're kind of trying to farm them a bit more than you would have otherwise. So, you know, you're helping out with camps that you may have otherwise not helped out with, or switching lanes when you otherwise might not have. So to me, Patch Recreation negates the need to even think about that kind of stuff. You can just play the lane as you're doing it and engage as you want, so.
All right, level 4. This is one of those ones you kind of want to read. So for this, we are going to be going with Playtime. Playtime, heroes hit by slam reduce the cooldown of Stitch's other basic abilities by 0.5 seconds. Increased to 2 seconds for heroes that are hit by its inner impact area. So I don't even know what happened necessarily. I believe I kind of read through this before, and I didn't read the inner impact area thing, and it didn't feel great to me. So then I switched over and started using Serrated Edge for a really long time, which is hitting an enemy hero with Hook deals bonus damage equal to 5% of their maximum health and reduces Hook's cooldown by 4 seconds. That's cool and all, but you can get a lot of basic ability cooldown reduction on not only your Hook, but all of your abilities if you're using your slam well, and it's much better.
Well, and it's by hero too, right? Like, so if you got 3 people with your outer edge, would that be 1.5 seconds off?
Yeah.
And 6 seconds if you got them all with the inner impact area?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that
real
seems
good.
Yeah.
Real good. Real good.
Also kind of easy to hit people if you've hooked them into you first. So.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the Serrated Edge is still cool, like if you're, I don't know, going against the Cho'Gall or something, because it's a weird giant killer onto his hook, but no, Playtime's real good, and you should do that.
Yeah.
Level 7 multi.
7, we are going to go with Blight, which is where it's an activatable, 40-second cooldown. Activate to apply Vile Gas to all nearby enemies. Enemy heroes hit receive 20% less healing for 5 seconds. And then there's also a passive, Vile Gas heals Stitches for 33% of the damage dealt. So again, this is self-healing, and as we've established through chat and other methods, this would stack as well with your increased healing at Patch Recreation level 1. And then, I mean, again, like it's just anti-healing for the enemy team as an activatable, and this is for everyone being afflicted by Vile Gas, which, get any number of different ways, but in my mind, it's a little easier to get off these days because you're controlling it based on the auto attacks that you land as opposed to the damage you're taking. So yeah, I mean, get in there, mix it up, activate this when you expect a big heals coming from, like their Lucio or something, and you're making a big difference.
Now, this one's worded kind of weird. So the activate to apply Vile Gas to all nearby enemies, but then enemy heroes hit receive the 20% less healing for 5 seconds. I do believe that is all enemies with Vile Gas applied to them.
That's
not just
how
the
I
ones that are
interpret
hit
too.
by your activatable.
Right. To me, it's like the Blight activates, and then just everyone who's got damage on them now has the Blight too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but that can be a
And
whole lot of
remember
healing.
to activate it,
Yes.
because Stitches did not have an activatable before on his trait.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
It took me a while to remember, oh yeah, I get to activate my trait.
You got one stitched on there.
Yep. And you know what? If you never
he was not a complete man before, and they stitched on the D, and now you can use it.
That's exactly right.
You know,
And worst case scenario, if you never activate your D, you're still healing for more. So
it's true.
that's good.
Level 10 TBK.
100% Gorge.
No.
Yep, 100% Gorge. This is something. It sucks because the putrid bile for the new skin, the teddy bear skin, is an amazing effect. I think I said he poops Christmas joy at one point, or Christmas cheer, but for me it is 100% Gorge because I love the removing an enemy, but more than anything, I love eating an enemy, walking them behind a gate, and letting the towers and the fort destroy them. It gives me no end to my glee, and I will pick Gorge constantly. But, Putrid Bile's probably pretty good, too. I mean, if I played it, I'm sure it'd be pretty awesome. But
Gorge has always been my favorite of the two. Like, even way in the early days of this game, before we even started the podcast, some of the stuff was going down. I was like, why would you ever want to do that? Would you just eat someone and
So
walk them behind a,
two things. One, Putrid Bile looks really cool in the bear skin, like TBK said. And I have never looked at Gorge the same since I forgot who pointed this out to me. But the fact that everyone uses Gorge wrong. Unless you can get somebody 100% of the time back behind your gate to get that kill, if you are gorging somebody and then walking away from a team fight, you're just doing it wrong. When you gorge somebody, you are taking them out of play. You now have a man advantage in a team fight. You should still be up in that business, just destroying the
still
team.
fighting.
While the person comes out. So Gorge can still be really good. But I just...
Yeah. You can remove their tank. You can remove their healer for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And 4 seconds in this game is a long time.
Well, and you can plan ahead with them. You can say, all right, I got the healer, hang on, and then someone sets up a stun or something like that when they come out. So I mean, there's some play in there. Yeah. And I don't know. I think there's still some weird situations in which, it's not a full-on team fight maybe, but you're just laning and you just grab someone for the advantage, and step back.
Sure. Yeah, it's great for picks.
But in team fights, when people do that, you may get that kill. You may not if there's cleanses or something for them being ready once they come out. But you automatically have the advantage, so you're wasting that by just not doing any damage and walking away trying to set up.
You step away.
Yeah, instead of just continuing on that fight with the advantage. But so Gorge is still good, but again, like Putrid Bile, I've just been having so much luck with it. Like the slows, the damage, the fact that you move faster. Even like I've used Putrid Bile so many times, even whenever like I go too far and I end up dying. Everyone else is just slowed and taking so much damage to where in the end our team comes out ahead because they're able to clean up and get those pickoffs. To where I love Putrid Bile.
I do Bile when I need to zone out something, like if I'm fighting over a lot of tributes and Cursed Hollow or something, and I just want little extra stuff splashing around and keeping people off of something. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I am warming up with it on and over time, but. Yeah, still a Gorge fan.
Yeah, I mean the only real problem there is you're not eating someone.
That's right. And the animation for the person being eaten by the teddy bear is also
amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, but why? If you're playing against them, why would you want to give them that satisfaction?
Good point.
It's the last fun thing before they die.
Yeah, I don't know. So really, what we're saying is you can't really go wrong here. I mean, they're both two very good ults. They're situational. I mean, if you pick Gorge, you probably pick Leaping Strike, meaning you're also wrong. So
wait, what?
Whoa.
I'm just
bringing
saying
that back.
Man, all of his credibility just went away right there.
So I again, when I was playing with Mac last week on the Ranked Up stream, or Ready Up stream, I played Phoenix, and I said out loud that I was going a Q build, and I immediately got discredited for that too. And it didn't work out, but I still stand by. Q build's great. I do go auto attack build more now, but in over 90 games, I still have over 70% win rate with Phoenix. Most of that on Q build, so it works. Level 13. We'll move on here to Lacerate. So this is where Slam afflicts enemies with vile gas, and heroes hit by Slam have their armor reduced by 10 for 4 seconds. So more slows, more vile gas, which that leads to more self-healing for you, which also leads to them being 10% vulnerable for 4 seconds, and it's just good. It's a really good ability.
I mean, this is, if you hit them on the outer edge as well, they still get the vile gas. And, if you caught someone with that and then you blight on them later and that healing difference makes the difference, then that could be a significant change too. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Lacerate.
There's a lot of good synergy between with his Slam stuff now that there wasn't before.
Yeah, for sure. If you are going your E build, digestive juices though can be very good as well, because you're going to be wanting to use your E on people as much as possible, and that's a 50% damage reduction for 5 seconds
which is
on someone you E. So pretty huge if that's kind of the route you're taking, or if you want to specifically hurt a high damage member of their team.
Yeah. Get to that back line and EM, they're useless. All right. 16. Multi.
16, we're going to go with Fishing Hook. Just because we missed the range, honestly. But yeah, it's the standard. Hook has an additional 50% range. And I don't think I really need to explain how that's a good thing, per se. But, I mean, it does kind of change him a little bit back toward how he used to play. In that now you go from being this bruiser that can kind of displace someone a little bit to, again, being able to truly make the plays. Like throwing hooks over walls, doing whatever else you need to catch people off guard, pull them in, CC them. It's a good argument for Gorge. You know, you get the more hooks off, you get more Gorges off. You're further back to where you could pull them over that wall, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with it. You do have to readjust yourself to think through what the new range is, but that's how Fishing Hook has always worked. And I mean, even at the longer range that it is now, it's still not as long as it used to be. So it's not quite as crazy to land those long range things. But yeah, can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one. And then level 20 TBK.
There's actually a lot of good stuff at level 20. Anything's really worthwhile situationally. Shambling Horror, of course, is always a good one. That's your activatable to gain 50 armor for 4 seconds. And passively, you cannot have your movement speed reduced below 100%. That's pretty huge, especially in this game where there's lots of slows. Another big one that I love because Gorge is Hungry Stitches.
So good.
Where for 4 seconds after you use Gorge, Stitches can teleport a short distance to additional targets and gorge them. And there's nothing like removing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people and having them slowly spit out and your team just jumping all over them. Or, as I did one game a week ago, eat all of them while my team killed their core. That was super fun.
Yeah.
And if you like the Devour build, or if you have been going the Devour build, Second Helping is gigantic for this build because you gain an additional charge, and enemy heroes hit by Devour reduce the cooldown of Stitch's heroic ability by 5 seconds. So you can have a 10-second heroic ability cooldown reduction. You can potentially hit 2 different people with that 50% damage reduction, and you're getting 2 bites of that large health and mana increase.
That's also increased by an additional 15%. That's usually what I go Second Helping when I'm running Bile, especially, which means all the time because Bile's what I run. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and the Bile upgrade's pretty good too. 6 seconds longer, and 45% slow from a 35% slow.
It is, but I don't think it's as good as the other upgrades. But more Christmas joy.
No, I don't do Bile.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, so that is the build here, or a build that I think is worth checking out if you're looking to get back into Stitches. So you haven't played him since the rework, or you kind of fell off. He is more fun, more involved now, I think. He's not just the hook guy anymore. He's the hook guy plus fun, more stuff. So check him out. Do have an interesting question from Boreos in the chat. Said, do you guys think the community missed the hook range enough that we could have that patched back in to extend it a bit longer? It isn't unseen that we have seen some fix-it like those as for popularity. I don't know, because I mean, while it does feel shorter, I mean it does feel balanced. So I don't know if overruling like a balance type thing because of community outcry would be something that would fix it.
So the interesting thing too, though, is and this is kind of my tip woven in here as well, is that the shorter range on the Q on the hook, in some ways, makes it easier to land. Yeah. Like you don't think that because it's like, okay, what I would have landed before, with the longer range, I definitely would land now. I mean, but to that end, like, it's just a longer shot. So if you play like a quick cast on release like I do, and you get to actually see how far it's going to go, it's easier to land because, like, previously, for the sake of safety and everything, you'd be hanging back nearly as far as you could and catch them with the very tip of it. So the missile took all the longer for the hook to actually get out there and grab them. They had all the more chance to step out of the way and that sort of thing. So if you just go into it knowing that's a little bit shorter, I actually find myself landing hooks more often now than I did before. I just, I mean, it's not from the range that it once was, and so you can't always make a full play out of it. But that's okay. I mean, that's just a design change. That's the direction they took him. So, I don't know. I'd argue, I think it's easier to land now, in a way. At least for me.
I'd say it'd be pretty hard to give him the extra range back, because one of the reasons they took that out is just that range is power. Being able to pull someone from a longer spot is very strong, because that means you have further to go back to safety or further to go back to your team. Mm-hmm. So that was taking the shorter range is taking a chunk of power out of Stitch's hook and allowing them to redistribute that power elsewhere, which they did in a lot of ways with Slam, especially with Bile Gas in the way it's spread now versus the way it was before. So they would probably have to take something else away to get that back, and I think the reason they won't is because that's what they were trying to balance out, to make him not, you throw your hook and then you wait 14 seconds or 12 seconds or whatever before you're useful again.
Yeah.
And he's much more useful now beyond his hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's games where the hook is the entire deal. Blitzcrank. And yeah, I'm glad to see they went away from that direction with him.
Oh, Blitzcrank's got a stun, and then his ult's really good. Like, his combos.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, fine. But then when you're done with that, what do? Just hang out?
Well, you
combos
all of your abilities,
Yeah,
I mean,
okay. I did like Blitzcrank back in the day. Okay.
He is annoying. He is. All right. So, any last minute tips or anything for Stitches? I mean, I guess mine would be, his sustain, especially with this build, he can have some crazy sustain. If you're landing your W's and getting those cooldown reductions, and then landing your Devours and whatnot. But the interesting thing with Stitches is you can kind of tell when you initiate a fight. At least I feel like I've been able to, when things are going to go well for you, and you're going to be able to sustain for a while. And you can also usually pretty quickly tell whenever things aren't going to go well for you, and that you need to just back out. Like with Stitches, his cooldowns are kind of short enough now, minus the hook, which you don't really need to initiate. It helps, but you don't need it. You can, don't just stay in on a situation for the sake of staying in on a situation. And I guess this could apply to all tanks too. Like, just because you initiate doesn't mean it has to be the initiation. You can pull back and reset.
Right. I think what you're touching on is that you just have to learn his new limits.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Like how far can you go before you have to back out, etc. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything from you guys, TBK?
I found people don't respect Gorge. They don't do it.
Gizmo
and it
especially.
Is super fun to kite people back, hook them, gorge them, and walk behind your tower.
See, you're sending the wrong message here, though. Yes, that is all good and well. But again, so Gizmo's tip for if you, for some reason, just have to pick Gorge, and you're not going to get, you don't know 100% you're going to get back to that tower, or if you're in a team fight, don't run away when you gorge somebody. Gorge somebody and continue fighting and kill everyone else, and then kill the person that comes out when they come out. One of the really strong suits of Gorge is actually as you get into later game, especially post 16, once you have your fishing hook, while you're waiting for an objective or while teams are posturing, it's a huge advantage when you guys are all together as a team to get one of those long range hooks, gorge somebody, and walk back with your team, because then your team will be ready and set up. And this is especially good in more competitive if you're team leaguing or on voice comms or something, because you can let people know, hey,
I'm going to stop here or I'm going to stop here. And if you move over and then, Toronto, drop your stun, or Mouth, drop your roots or whatever, you spit them out and they're screwed. They're just completely screwed. There's nothing they can do. And bam, now you have a 5v4. And so that's another really strong thing, because you can hook, eat them, and then your team now has those 4 seconds to set up for the kill. Whereas just a hook, it's much more likely a person will get away. Mm-hmm. But the way things are now, especially with the built-in slow to the inner area of the slam, you want to be saving your slam for the hook. So you hook in and slam down. As soon as they get close to you, boom, they took more damage and they're slowed now as well.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Good point. Side note, TBK, earlier when you said that you never use bile, I had a weird thought. How do you digest your food?
Magic.
Christmas joy.
Christmas.
He's filled with Christmas joy.
Filled with Christmas joy all year round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you want to go darker, they just suffocate in the stuffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have died that way. Not to get dark.
I'm sure it's happened. I've heard some weird stuff. Any tips or last-minute tips from you, Multi?
I gave mine already. Okay. Hook range.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. In some ways.
All right. Well, let us know what you guys think about the build. Let us know if you make any changes, like picking Bile over Gorge. And, yeah, enjoy Stitches. Let's move on, TBK, to community content shout-out this week. And I have never been more upset about something in this game than your first one here.
So I'm linking it in Twitch chat. Of course, lordsofthestorm.libsyn.com for all these show notes, since these shout-outs specifically are video/art related. Matt Parker, one of the animators on Heroes, made a tweet on the 21st of December, and he posted the original dance animation for Phoenix. He says it was nixed for various reasons, but it's one of his favorites, and it's a Christmas gift to us.
It's the best dance in the game. And
as
a Phoenix main, I'm so upset.
It is incredible. Like, I can't really describe this to you.
It's a breakdancing Phoenix.
He's breakdancing.
He stands up like a man.
He's like a transformer breakdancing.
Starts to spin. So was that the issue then? Did this happen in Transformers in a way that there'd be like copyright problems?
No.
I don't think so. I don't know. I think it's probably more that it doesn't quote unquote fit with Phoenix, especially because it makes him look like a person, but his head's actually on top and everything. I don't know.
Who
why
cares?
it's nixed. It should
There's
be
no
unmixed
reason
and replaced, and the current one should be replaced with this one.
There is zero reason that this ever should have been nixed. You cannot make a good argument for it.
You really can't.
Like, the best argument you could make is it changes his silhouette to that of more of a humanoid, so people wouldn't recognize him. But if he is doing this, he is immobile for those 3-4 seconds. So, yeah, I'm so upset, and I want it. And thank you, Matt Parker, for sharing this with the world, because it should have been.
It's beautiful, and I love it so much.
It's such smooth animation too.
Let's just bring it up every week until it's back in the game.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's that good.
So good. Next, we have the Crypt Keeper Abathur skin, which is a very Tomb of the Spider Queen inspired skin by Renari, I believe is the pronunciation. It might not be, but again, it will be linked. Very, very cool looking skin. It's very much like the Zagara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say. It reminds me of Zagara. In that, too,
kind of humanoid.
It gives you a face when there wasn't one previously.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a really cool looking symbiote, a really cool looking cocoon, like almost like a little mini version of the core.
Yeah.
With that orb and stuff. They've got some colorations for it. It looks really cool. Like, I could see that being a very pretty skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it.
Kind of for a character that doesn't have pretty stuff, I guess. And then finally, and this would probably be a really insta buy for multi if it ever came out. We have a extremely cool Deckard Cain Hearthstone skin by Kenny, and this is a Brew the Innkeeper skin essentially for Deckard.
Hearthstone Brew.
Yeah,
That's
Hearthstone Brew. And it's really cool. The potions are now dust, like the lesser healing potions are the little 5 dust, the 100 dust for the regular, and the 1600 dust things for the super healing potions. Little RNG things for the cubes and the different gems, which is pretty cool. And then the little rope that counts down to the end turn for his slow. Cardnado, which is pretty cool, and then a Hearthstone animation for well played, and then he jumps into a little Nexagon thing, and then the stay a while and play, where part of a board pops up.
That one's cool because it shows like half of a Hearthstone board, and that's the now the big fan that you do for stay a while and listen.
So, question, Multi, would you buy this skin instantly? Or would you never buy it in retaliation of the fact that you wanted this character to be a hero instead of a skin?
I'd buy it instantly, but I'd be pissed about it because of that reason. So, but I would still play only it anytime because Hearthstone Brew is the #1 hero I want in the game for sure. And the selling point for me on this was the rope.
That's really good.
The rope is on the scroll is really, really well thought. Really well thought out. I like it.
Yeah, whole thing.
Big props.
He even has the mini Deathwing from that cinematic, the Hearthstone is Home cinematic. Even has that floating around at the top of the card NATO. So yeah, it's super good. Super good.
All right.
Yeah. Great artists.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it. Again, the community's great. The community's great. We don't have any emails or anything this week, so it's gonna wrap it up. It's gonna do it for our first episode of 2019. But before we leave here, Multi, why don't you let people know where we can be reached?
Oh, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at Lords of the Storm. But Twitch, we're on twitch.tv/HeroesHearth, live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. So check us out there for sure. Shout out to HeroesHearth again for hosting us there. You can find us in-game, too, by typing /join space LOTS. And we've got a Discord as well, bit.ly/lotsdiscord. And if you want to email us with feedback or questions now that the holiday season is over and you're back to playing a ton, hopefully, Lords of the Storm at Outlook.com is the place to do that. And if you want to help out the show, other than the Patreon, which I mentioned, which again, super thanks to anyone who's ever even thought about giving anything there. But there's another way. You could leave a review, preferably iTunes, but any of the podcast apps you use, if they've got a place where you can leave a review, please do. Just helps give even more visibility to the show. So
for sure.
We appreciate it.
You can also find us individually, myself on Twitter, Twitch, and HeroesHearth at Gizmozord, as well as on Convert to Raid Presents Battle.net News, the World of Warcraft podcast about all things Blizzard, that will be coming back here in 2019. Multi, where can you be found?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also on another show called Hearth Casual, which is about Hearthstone, with Brian Black Rowe from Realm Maintenance. And yeah, it'll be a normal week on that one, so we're going to get in. I'm going to try to get some more Rumble Run in before then, because I still haven't cleared it, but that's okay. We'll get there.
All right. And TBK, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord, and over on the Heroes Hearth. My next map concept got delayed a little bit because of all the holiday stuff, but it's still planned. So I'm pretty excited about it. Still working on it. It's going to be a big one. Ooh. When I find time to finish it.
Sounds good.
Be a big one someday. All right, so I want to give a special thanks to our patron producer HeroesHearth for helping support the show, as well as all of our patrons out there. We getting our mod chat, keeping things cool during the live shows, and yeah, we will see you all same time, same place next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central. Until then, get out there, play some Stitches, spread your Christmas joy, Bile on the ground, never pick Gorge, and we'll see you then. Have a good one.
Enough. I shall do no more.